Subscribe to LearnCab and hit the bell icon to get notified.
Hello students, today we'll begin a new chapter, that is Theory of Demand and Supply. So here in this first video, we will be dealing with the meaning of demand and the determinants of demand. Now let us understand the meaning of demand. So demand is nothing but the quantity of a good that the consumers are willing and able to purchase at various prices during a given period of time. So a couple of things to remember here. They are willing, they are able to purchase at various prices at a given period of time. Now let us understand what are the things to be noted about the quantity demanded. First of all, the quantity demanded is always given at a particular price. It is expressed at a given price. And secondly, it is a flow. It is not an isolated single purchase, but it is nothing but a continuous set of purchases for different prices. Now, let us understand what is the meaning of effective demand. So, let us take a scenario for understanding this. Let us say there is a college student dreaming of a car. Or let us say you, as of now, you are dreaming of a car. You are a CA foundation student. You have a desire, definitely. Do you have willingness? Questionable, you can't say, because you don't have the money. So in these three things, you had only desire. You don't have money, so there is no question of willingness. Unless you have money, only then you can decide whether you're willing to spend it, right? So you have only desire. Let us take another scenario. Let us take a person who is working for 2 years, and let us say he has savings of around 4 lakh and he dreams of buying a car. Now he is currently staying at a rented apartment. So does he have desire? Yes, he has desire to buy a car. But does he have the money? Yes, in this case he has savings of 4 lakh. But now the third thing, does he have willingness? So he has the money, he has the desire. But at the same time, he's staying at a rented apartment. So naturally, his priorities will be a little different. He might prefer to buy a house before he buys a car. So for him, this car might not become a priority. He may not be having the willingness. Now let us look at another scenario. Let us say there is a CA. Forget about there being a CA. Let us say you have cleared your CA final a year ago or something. And let us say you have landed a great job with a very good salary and you dream of buying a Mercedes. Now, do you have desire? Yes, you do. Do you have money? Yes, you do. Assuming that you have a very fat package. Do you have the willingness? Yes, you do. So, since you have all these three elements, it becomes effective demand. So what are the three things you need to constitute effective demand? You need desire, the resource or the means, and the willingness to spend the money. Alright, now let us take into consideration the different factors that determine demand. One by one. Let us say you have 1000 rupees and you want to go for a movie with 3 other friends. And let us say generally in theatres we have 3 different categories of tickets, right? So we have the platinum tickets, then we have the gold tickets, and then we have the silver class tickets. So platinum usually costs around 200, it may differ. Then gold might be around 180 on weekdays we are saying. And silver probably is 150. Now you have a limited resource. What do you have? 1000 rupees. In 1000 rupees, it would be feasible for you to get 4 tickets at 150, right? So that way you would be spending 600 rupees only. You may want to spend the remaining money on other things also. So you will go for the cheapest alternative. So you will end up choosing silver tickets. Now, this is the first factor that determines demand. The price of the commodity, in this case, the price was 150, right? So the price of the commodity does determine demand. And in this case, when the price decreases, the demand increases. Similarly, it will work vice versa also. If the price increases, then the demand decreases. Naturally, if you have noticed in a theatre, the seats in platinum category are very few towards the end. Gold is in the middle, quite a good number of seats. And usually the highest number of seats are in silver category because they are the most affordable and people prefer that. They have again applied this particular theory. They know that when the price is less, the demand is always more. So this is the first factor. There is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. Inverse, it is quite the opposite, right? So here, when the ticket price is 150, your demand for the tickets was 4. You demanded 4 quantities of the ticket, right? Let us now look at the next factor, that is price of related goods. Now when it comes to related goods, you have 2 different categories. The first one is complementary goods. Now what are these complementary goods? Let us take the same example. You are in a movie. You are going for a movie, you are in the theatre and you have already bought tickets worth 600. Now you had 1000 rupees. From that you spent 600 and now you have 400 left with you. Now let us say you will want to buy popcorn. Generally the popcorn prices in a theatre are around 200 or more, right? And along with that you have an option to buy Pepsi. Now why have I called these complementary goods? Complementary goods are those goods that are demanded together. For example, you have tea and sugar. Usually, until and unless they are diabetic, usually people prefer tea with sugar only, right? Or unless they are diet conscious also. Yes? So similarly, pen and ink or pen and refill. Like that, there are several types of products. In this case, let us say popcorn and Pepsi in this scenario, because you know that you wouldn't go only for popcorn because you will feel thirsty after a point of time. At the same time, you won't go only for Pepsi. So usually it's together, like a combo. Now, let us say the price of popcorn is 200, price of Pepsi is 200. That makes it 400 and you had 400 left with you. So you can go for both. Now let us say the price of popcorn increased to 300. Now what would happen? Can you afford the popcorn and the Pepsi? No, because now you need 500 rupees, 300 plus 200. This is not possible for you because you have only 400 rupees left. So then the only option is going only for popcorn, which you don't want to do. So in such a case, you will not go for both of them. You will decide not to buy both of them. So basically what happened here? The price of one product increased and the demand for Pepsi or the other product decreased. So this is what happens in the case of complementary goods. If the price of one increases, then the demand for other falls. So there is an indirect relationship. When it comes to complementary goods, there is an indirect relationship between the price and the quantity demanded. The next category of related goods happens to be supplementary goods, or they are also called substitutes. So what are these? Let us say again similar scenario. In the theatre now you have already bought popcorn. You had 1000 rupees from which you bought tickets worth 600 and then you bought popcorn, let us say. You still have 200 left with you and now you want to buy something to drink. You have an option of buying Pepsi and you have an option of buying Coca-Cola. So now both of them are priced at 200. They both serve the same purpose, right? Unless you have a specific liking towards one of them, either of them would do. But now let us say the price of Pepsi increased to 300. How much was the amount which you had? 200 only. So can you go in for Pepsi? No. So what will you do? you will opt for Coke. So what happened in this case? The price of Pepsi increased, but the demand for Coke increased at the same time. So here, since you're going to be opting for the cheaper one, the increase in price of Pepsi resulted in the increase in demand for the other. There is an increase and also increase. So that means there is a direct relationship. We go ahead to the next one, the third determinant of demand, which is consumers' income. Now you know that as income increases, there is more money in the hands of people, right? So when there is more money in the hands of people, naturally they are able to demand more products. So when income increases, generally demand increases, except in certain cases, that is the case of inferior goods. Now what are these inferior goods? What does it mean? So does it mean they are inferior quality goods? No, absolutely not. Although it sounds that way, they are not inferior in quality, but they are inferior when it comes to the price. So in relation to price, they are inferior. What is an example for these? These are necessities. Usually most necessities are low priced, right? So they are called inferior goods. Now let us understand these necessities, how it works and why it is inferior goods, how it practically works. Okay, so in case of necessities, the demand increases initially when you have more money, but it decreases at a later stage. So that is why here the law of demand may not apply. The law of increase in income, increasing the demand may not apply, because it increases initially, but after a certain point of time when your income increases, your demand for necessities may fall. Now let us analyze it scenario by scenario. We take the first one. Let us say we have a poor man here who has a very low income. Let us say he's a daily wage worker and he is getting very minimum wages and he can afford only say 2 meals a day. Now naturally, if his income increases slightly, his demand for food will increase slightly. Here he was able to afford 2 meals a day. Now if his income increases, he will be able to afford 3 meals a day. So his demand increased. That's because demand increases initially. Let us take another scenario now. Let us take Mr. Middle Class. Now he has a decent 5-digit salary. He's working for a decent company as a 5-digit salary. He can definitely afford 3 meals a day. Yes. But if his income increases further, what will he do? Only 3 meals a day? No. He will allocate certain amount of income towards comforts, right? Definitely, because just because he's earning more money, he's not going to start eating 5 meals a day, right? No, because his appetite is only that much, right? So here he will shift his demand from the 3 meals, that is a basic necessity, to a comfort, like maybe a television or a computer or an air conditioner or a scooter, 2-wheeler or 4-wheeler. Yes? So this way his demand will shift. It's sort of stabilized now. Increase in income, the demand for necessity sort of stayed the same. Let us take one more scenario, scenario 3. Now here we will consider a rich person who is already earning a 6-digit salary. He can anyways afford 3 meals a day, definitely without any problem. At the same time, he may not always spend on this just like how the other two are spending. He may want to eat in posh hotels, grand hotels, spending a lot of money. Yes. So thus he has an option. Also, he already has all these comforts, television, air conditioner, 4-wheeler. Yes. So what will he do if his income increases further? So definitely he will not, in the place of having 1 refrigerator, he is not going to buy 2 refrigerators just because he has more money with him, right? Nor is he going to buy more number of television sets. But he may shift his demand to luxuries. So what sort of luxuries? Maybe expensive cars or precious jewelry, maybe a bungalow. Yes? So his demand shifted from comforts to the luxuries. So what happened here to the necessities? The basic necessity was food over here. Did his demand increase? No. When his income increased to a very high level, his demand for necessity kind of fell, because instead of buying these necessary goods and preparing his own food, he probably started eating at 5-star hotels and 7-star hotels, right? So here the demand shifted and the demand for necessities fell down. This was the analysis of necessities, why they are called inferior goods. Alright, we go to the fourth determinant of demand, that is taste and preference of the customers. Now you know people usually prefer products that are trendy or which are in fashion. For example, maybe the Amazon Dot or Alexa, or for people who are into fashion, maybe the most trendiest clothes. Yes? Sometimes people have specific preferences, like some people have favorite toothpaste. They prefer Pepsodent only, or they prefer Colgate only. Or there are some people who prefer only tea, no matter what, they will not touch coffee at all. Like that, people have specific preferences. So even these can determine demand to a certain extent. Then, how does this particular taste and preference have different kinds of effects included in it? There are certain effects, the names of which are, first one, demonstration effect. Now what is this demonstration effect? How will this affect taste and preference? So sometimes people are affected by watching advertisements or by seeing other people use a certain product. Now let us say you saw a person or a friend or just someone you know drive a very nice car and immediately you liked it. You also want to buy the same car. So thus this was a demonstration effect. When you saw someone else use it, you also wanted to buy it. It affected your taste and preference. Similarly, there is something called a snob effect. So what is this? Sometimes in the case of certain products becoming popular, then people may shift their demand from that product to some other product because they want to be unique. Let us say, for example, rich people. Let us say they have a lot of jewelry with them and suddenly gold has become very popular. Everybody is buying gold. Let's say gold prices came down. So everybody is purchasing gold now. So these people now, these rich people, they don't want to, be like the others and wear gold only. So they would like to be different. They don't want to buy something which everybody is buying. So they prefer to go in for diamonds. Like that, there are several other examples you can think of. Then there is something called the Veblen effect. So this is in relation to conspicuous goods. Now what are these conspicuous goods? Conspicuous goods are those which are bought only for the sake of setting a status symbol in society. So basically they are purchased for the sake of show off. Now some people will tend to spend a lot of money on these expensive products only because they want to make it a status symbol. For example, some rich people may prefer to buy antiques or diamonds even if the price is increasing, only and only because it is going to give them a status symbol. So this is called Veblen effect. Now, the fifth determinant is consumers' expectations. Sometimes people may expect that the price of a good may increase in future or the price of the goods may fall in future. So in such a case, they will plan their expenses right now, right? So that will affect demand. Now let us say they feel that the price of rice is going to increase in the next week. So naturally, won't they buy rice in large quantities right now? Yes. So suddenly the demand is increased purely because of the customer expectation. Similarly, in the case of you can say shares, maybe shares in stocks in the stock market. So they feel the prices are going to fall in the near future. So out of fear of losing out all their money, people may tend to sell right now so that they can recover something. So this is purely because of the fall in demand, purely because of the future expectation, like that. The next one is the residual category, that is called others. So what are the other determinants? For example, you have size of population. So naturally, when the population size is very large, demand for generally for most goods will be very large. Or the composition of population. Composition means what is the population consisting of, whether it is a young population like between the age group of 1 to 10, then naturally the demand for toys, books, etc. will be a little more. Let us say between the age group of 20 to 30, it could be gadgets, phones, tablets, computers. Similarly, between the age of say 60 to 90, maybe medical equipments, hearing aids, walking sticks. So the demand for these products will be high. What is the kind of population that you have can largely affect the demand of the products also. Then, national income and its distribution. Certain areas may have a good standard of living because the national income is pretty high in that area. The per capita income is pretty high in that area. So there naturally demand for most products will be high because they can afford it. In some areas, the population will be very poor. In such a case, the demand usually will be very low. Like that, consumer credit facility, that is nothing but how easy is it for customers to get finance to buy certain things. Like for example, generally you can take loans to purchase vehicles, yes, or nowadays so even you have your facilities to purchase gadgets on installments, EMI basis. So when all these facilities are there, that also determines demand. Then interest rates. Interest rates may be on loans which you're going to borrow. If you're going to have a car loan to purchase a car, if the interest rates are low, then naturally the demand will be more for those cars because people can take loans and buy the car. But if the interest rate is high on that loan, on vehicle loans, then naturally demand for those vehicles also may fall down, especially if they are middle class people, because they usually tend to buy these type of assets on loans. So thus these things can determine demand. Hope this was clear to you all students. Let me see you all again in the next video. Thank you.
Subscribe to LearnCab and hit the bell icon to get notified.